After the events of the past week or two, it'll be hard to say what exactly the move or moves will be for Philly during the 2026 NFL Draft. We'll talk about that along with the latest A.J. Brown news, which might not look good for Philly. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What's up, y'all, and welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Olde City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. The 2026 NFL Draft starts tonight with day one, which will feature the first round, as many college stars hope to hear their name called and claim the title of first round draft pick. As of this moment, the Eagles have one pick in the first round at pick number 23. A lot of people have voiced their opinions on what they think that pick will be, whether that be an offensive lineman, a safety, a wide receiver. We're going to share some possible scenarios and what we think could happen. But before we get into all of that, let's talk some Eagles news. Starting off this week, a former Eagle has been arrested. Former Eagles wide receiver and Super Bowl champion Alshon Jeffrey was arrested last week in California. He was brought upon charges of filing a false insurance claim as well as failing to disclose an insurance benefit. He faces up to 5 years in prison if he's convicted. Now, according to USA Today, this all stems from a car accident this past September where apparently Alshon rear-ended a Lyft driver that had a customer inside. The total damages for this fender bender cost around $23,000 total as Jeffrey's Benz hit the Lyft driver's Tesla. A very California thing, if you will. What Jeffrey did was he had got a new auto insurance policy after the accident, and then a month after that filed the claim saying that the accident had occurred September 28th, when in actuality, the accident had occurred on September 21st, when the Lyft driver submitted his photos for his insurance claim for the damages to his Tesla. An investigation was conducted and ultimately found Jeffrey's claim to have been falsified. His next court appearance is actually set for sometime today, April 23rd. Listen, I fuck with Alshon Jeffrey because he came up in clutch for the Eagles' first Super Bowl win. He's always going to be remembered for that. But this is such a dumb fucking thing to do, man. A very rich person type of crime, too. Did he think the other driver wouldn't submit shit to his insurance for a claim, especially when there's $10,000 fucking dollars of damage to his own car? Nah, you got me fucked up, man. Love the guy, but he made a dumb decision, and he's going to have to face the consequences of it. Next, and probably one of the hottest topics of the past couple of years, has been all but confirmed as A.J. Brown was reported to likely be traded June 1st per ESPN's Adam Schefter. And when Schefter says it, it's most likely going to happen. So, on Monday, it was reported via Adam Schefter of ESPN, and of course, many other outlets like CBS and Yahoo Sports, when they ran with this, it was reported that Eagles wide receiver 1 A.J. Brown is more than likely to be traded on or after June 1st, with the New England Patriots as the projected trade location. Now, this is not new news. In fact, this news feels like it's old enough to rent a car at this point. However, when you have credible sources, no, I'm not talking Diana Rossini, such as ESPN reporting this, it all feels the more real. Also, sidebar, just as a reminder for those who might be asking, why don't they just trade him now? And of course, the answer is cap space. If the Eagles traded him now, the Birds would have a $40 million dead cap hit for the season, which would be absolutely horrible. But after June 1st, that dead cap drops to $22 million, somehow saves $7 million on the year. I have no idea how the fuck that works out. But the remaining dead cap goes spread out into the 2027 season. Again, this trade to me isn't ideal because of the dead cap hit, but post June 1st is the lesser of two evils. Between this fucking stretched out story and the side drama in between moments like the Vrabel Rossini controversy, the Jalen AJ fallout rumors, and countless other bullshit moments, I'm just flat out tired and over it. Like, please, can we just end this conversation already? It's like these reporters have literally fucking nothing else to talk about, you'd think by it. It's exhausting at this point, and I've probably said this before, but after at least a couple years, it's just insanity to keep talking about it at this point. It's either he's traded or not. End of the fucking story. I will say this, though. I would love to keep AJ in Philly. I think he's a fantastic receiver, a top 5, arguably, wide receiver talent when his head is clear, and he's helped his team accomplish so much in the time that he's been here, including 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 victory. And he's had over 1,000 yards each of the 4 seasons he's been with us so far. Would it be smart for Philly to trade one of their best offensive weapons? Hell to the fucking nah. However, if he is truly unhappy in Philly, whether that be because of 2 shitty offensive coordinators, not feeling like he did when he first got to Philly, potentially being Pavloved by Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel, or whatever the case may actually be, if he is truly unhappy in Philly, it's not going to go well, not just for his performance, but for his mental health, which of course takes priority. And then I think at this point, the team just needs to let him go. That's hard for me to say, but that's where I'm at this point right now. If he is truly unhappy in Philly, we are not going to see the 2022 or 2024 like performances out of him. The public's going to have to deal with at least another year of trade rumors and drama rumors. And AJ's going to be checked out and not 100% himself, you know? So I think we just cut ties and move forward with a trade. But if I'm being honest, I don't think we should trade him to the Patriots. Because this whole thing between Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini is one thing, but now, according to Pro Football Talk and Yahoo Sports, it's been reported that the Patriots knew about the photos and attempted to prevent them from leaking, but obviously they were unsuccessful. Now, the whole Vrabel-Rossini thing at this moment, of course, is still all speculation, but between her resigning and now Vrabel's team attempting to hide essentially evidence and his press conference talking about having difficult conversations with his family, it's all pretty scummy from Vrabel and the team if they actually did try to cover it up. It wouldn't surprise me with it being the Patriots because they're no stranger to scandal. Between Spygate in 2007, Deflategate in 2014, filming the Bengals in 2019, and now potentially covering up a potential scandal, conflict of interest, tampering scheme, whatever the fuck you want to call it. My point is, we shouldn't give New England the satisfaction of receiving A.J. Brown because of all the potential shit that's been going on within that organization. I would rather see AJ go to a divisional rival of theirs, like the Dolphins, or better yet, the fucking Bills, just so that he and they can run all over New England in the regular season. Anyone besides the Patriots at this point. But if Howie does decide on trading him, and it is to the Patriots, it better be for a steep fucking price. I'm talking at least a first round pick, maybe a first and a second, maybe throw a player in there. Don't let them get him for cheap like they were potentially trying to do with this whole rumor bullshit and potentially devaluing his trade status or whatever. Or how he should somehow fleece the Patriots to make them take on the rest of his contract. I don't know if they actually can do that, but if they could, that'd be fucking sweet. So yeah, that's that. I bring this topic up not just because it's news, but it potentially has an impact on this week's main topic, which is the 2026 NFL Draft. So, tonight begins the 2026 NFL Draft, and it's one of those events that no matter how many predictions, no matter how much analysis or logic or mock trials you pour into it, it never goes as expected. With some exceptions, of course. But what I've seen from mock drafts and mock trade scenarios to all these different possibilities all over the internet, I'll talk about a few of the scenarios I think could happen from what I've seen and what I think about them. One of the scenarios, and probably the most obvious one, is that Philly ends up picking the best available player at number 23. Typically, I feel like Howie's leaned towards this more often in recent years after his string of shitty picks prior to that. I'm talking Jalen Reagor, JJ Arthur-Whiteside, you know, that kind of stuff. For the most part, I think this is obviously very safe and logical as long as it's done right. An example of what I think wouldn't be right with this pick would be like drafting a quarterback. That should be clear and obvious. I would say the same about tight end, with the exception of it being Kenyon Sadiq. If he is somehow available, you're going to go fucking get him. Next scenario I think the Birds could do is pick an offensive lineman at number 23. Now, logically, purely logically speaking, this would be a fantastic move. After the way the offensive line struggled this past year, and with all-pro right tackle Lane Johnson getting even closer to retirement, it would be the smartest decision logically to draft an offensive lineman, right? However, historically, it has not worked out well in our favor. Think Andre Dillard, Danny Watkins, Kevin Allen. All three were major busts, and one of them went to prison after his first year, I think. And according to NBC Sports Philadelphia, they listed out the top 20 worst first-round picks from Philadelphia of all time. Almost half of them were offensive linemen. We've had much more success with drafting offensive linemen in later rounds. Brandon Brooks, 3rd round. Jason Kelsey, 6th round. Jordan Mailata, 7th round. Jason Peters, undrafted free agent. Now, I know a lot of that late round success players could be attributed to the coaching style of Jeff Stoutland, and now that we don't have him, this changes things. However, I think looking at history is very important, and we should take that into consideration, and they should use their first round pick on something other than offensive linemen, when historically we've had much better success drafting them in later rounds. Next possible scenario is the Birds pick a wide receiver at number 23. Now, I don't love it. The only reason I could see them doing that is because the A.J. Brown trade is official. I don't love the idea of a wide receiver in the first round, but if the Birds do make that pick, I would totally understand it. I mainly don't love it because I'd rather have A.J. Brown let that contract ride out. However, if we're able to land a caliber wide receiver such as Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, or Mekhi Lemon, maybe Denzel Boston, depending on how you feel about that, if those guys are somehow available, I would not hate the idea of the Birds getting one of them. Another scenario to look at is the Birds could pick a safety at number 23. Now, I've said this for a while. I think the Birds need to get a better, younger safety to start opposite of Andrew Makuba. And there is a stacked safety group this year with at least 3 of them projected to go in the first round. I know it's not a popular position to draft in the first round, and the Birds have never drafted a safety in the first round, but I think we can take advantage on defense and truly lock down all components of the defense, from the front 7 to the corners and finally the safeties. If we're able to draft someone like Caleb Downs, Dylan Thieneman, or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, we will be fucking set. If all 3 are taken before our pick and we haven't traded up or traded down or anything, I think the Birds could do what they did last year and wait until the second round or so to see if somebody like AJ Halsey or Jalen Kilgore are available. All right, the last scenario we'll talk about that could potentially happen at this draft, maybe in the first day, is that the Birds trade picks up or down or for a high-profile player. Howie loves his trade. He's fucking loves his trades. I mean, last year, I think the Birds had the most trades in an NFL draft in history or some shit. He's done the profile player trade, trading the 2022 18th overall pick and another one for AJ Brown. So we know how he's not afraid to make that gamble. Trading up seems hella logical. I don't know what it would take for a team to agree to trade up with us, but I'm sure Howie would somehow figure it out, fleece a team, whatever. But trading down, I don't think that would be the smartest thing to do. They're already 23rd, so we're already towards the end of the round, which really doesn't give the Birds much leverage. If we were say, between the 8th and the 15th pick overall, then I might be more open to the idea of trading down. But with our first pick, for at least right now, being the 23rd pick, I don't think we should trade down, unless it is for another A.J. Brown-like type of trade. Could Howie do it this year? We're just going to have to find out later this evening. Now, these are just a few scenarios. I realize this is not all of what could happen. The Birds could draft a defensive tackle or an edge rusher since they love to fill up the trenches, especially on defense. They could get a corner as insurance if Reek Woolen's 1-year deal ends up not being worth it. Tons of situations can happen. Whatever does happen, though, I'm just hoping it's going to be worthwhile. But in Howie, we trust. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at Second and 15 or by the full name Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, Deezer, or wherever you get your podcasts, with the video uploading to YouTube later that same day. Once again, thank you all for joining in this week. This is Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Olde City Sports Network. We will see you all next week, but before that, don't forget to check out tonight's first night of the 2026 NFL Draft, airing at, I believe it's 8 o'clock on ESPN, ABC, NFL Network, and ESPN Deportes. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds!